Iluchana Saman Losanos Shabbos. Dayin. His courtesy as Shabbos so b'fnatz of local b'chlal atar v'am mitzvahs. Now the thing to analyze over here is that all the other 612 mitzvahs are all nichlal on what it says Nosan Lanu Torah. 2 entries later, Shabbos was taken out of the klal of Torah, separated. All the other 612 mitzvahs, as big as they are, were all meant in one phrase. Nosan Lanu Torah. Shabbos was taken out of that klal, and now we just take out a klal, but also mentioned 2 steps earlier, right, before Kervanu Fnei Har Sinai. So he wants to know why that is. Why Shabbos was Yotzei from the klal of the rest of the Targum mitzvahs that whoever wrote the Dayenu alludes to all of them together with Nosan Lanu Torah. That's the question.
Is Shabbos given in Maror?
Well, it was given in Maror, but it's not enough of a teretz because there's also dinim and kiburav. We got according to Savia Paraduma. So that's his question he wants to address. Hiskir Shabbos liso b'fnei atzmo v'lo kollo b'chlal hatera v'amitzvahs. It is not in part of the klal of Torah mitzvahs, which is in the one line of V'nasal Lanu Es Torah. So the question is, why is that? Shabbos u'shoko connected kol Torah mitzvahs. So aside from the famous Chazal that Shabbos is, in itself equivalent to all Tariq mitzvahs, and that's why a person who's Machal Shabbos before has a din of a goy, right? But aside from that, who Mara Malas Yisrael, it shows the mile of Am Yisrael. You see, he made it important to put 2 fingers over here to point to the Chiddush, right? It seems so, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
right. Shabbos demonstrates the mile of Am Yisrael, that Am Yisrael is the chosen nation, and they are the chosen of the whole human race. That only Am Yisrael is a true Tselem Elokim. How so? So let's get the Yisod straight. Shabbos is not just another mitzvah that you do. Shabbos is a status symbol. And it reinforces our special status of being the chosen people, and of course, we could say this, just it's not going anywhere, just to show them the master race. We are the master race. We are the real Tzelem Elokim. How so? Also Yom Shabbos. So that's why HaKadosh, because of our special status, gave us the day that He rested from creating His world. And he goes on to explain a little bit of the parallels between Shabbos and the Metzius of the Jewish people, right? Kamo Shabbos u'merkas kol bria shudukora emtzar shel kol davar nivcham b'gvav merchakim. Shabbos is the center of the whole creation. It is the middle point of everything that exists, that nivchan, that could be discerned in 6 distances. It means the 6 edges of the 3 dimensions. Everything's 3-dimensional. Every dimension has 2 edges: right, left, up, down, in, out.
Okay. You got me by 4. In, out, that's an interesting one.
In, out, up, down,
yeah.
Right, left.
Right, left, yeah, okay. In, out. You have a box, you have in, out.
Yeah,
okay.
In a cube, those are the 6 edges. So where does Shabbos fit in? So, and then this Yisod is already all over. It's in the Zohar already, that the 6 days of creation were parallel to the 6 edges of the 3 dimensions. So where does Shabbos fit in? Answer is, it doesn't really fit in. It's the center. Now the center, is not really on any side, because if it would be on a side, it wouldn't be the center. The center is really it's really beyond space. How big is the center?
How big is the center? The middle of the center, or the center?
Center, the real center.
The real center.
Doesn't even exist in physical reality, because if it would have take up space, they'd be able to divide it up between the different sides.
Okay.
So the center is like it's a concept. It's not physical. It's a concept.
Okay.
And that's what Shabbos is. It's a concept. Now we're going to explain the significance of time. We're going to show also the Jewish people don't really have a physical existence, as he's going to show. Right. So Shabbos is Nekuda, it's the midpoint, which doesn't really exist in physical reality. It's a midpoint of anything that could be discerned to have 6 distances, means the 6 edges of the 3 dimensions. L'chein Yom HaShabbos b'kayim kol ma shenivra b'yevav yemei hama'aseh. So now, but the center we believe, right, is the neshama, right, of whatever it is, whatever object we're talking about. Like, again, this is in their philosophy, right? They believe that everything comes out of the center. So the center is like that hidden source that holds and sustains the whole thing, but it's not a part of the thing. It's beyond the thing. Right, it's not a part, it's beyond, and it's what sustains it, and that's the relationship of Shabbos to the 6 days of the week, like the point center is to anything that has 6 edges, which is any three-dimensional object. And then he puts again another arrow, another finger, the kamo kain. So just like that's what Shabbos is, and that's why Shabbos is makora bracha, right? It's not part of the week. It's separate from the week, but it gives bracha to the whole week. Like the center is not a part of the dimensions of something, but it's what gives the chayim to all the 6 edges. Okay. So also, Kamo Ken Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Hem Merkaz Kol Habriya, we are the center of creation, in the same sense, Shebeshulam Nivra Olam, because the whole world was created for us. Bereshis, Beshul Yisrael, Shebekru Reshis. Right? Now Shabbos, just like on it, HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not create anything new, but yet it is the life source of all that God created. So it's not a day of creation, because God didn't create anything on Shabbos, but it is the life source of all creation. Right? Right. So also, right? Kamo Kain, so also Yisrael Elam Shum Mitzias Ba'olam. Am Yisrael has no physical existence in this world, right? Ki ein mazal klal Yisrael, from the different mazalot that there are, of the months and of the weeks. There's nothing that really belongs to the Jewish people, right? The Umas Ha'olam, everyone has its star. Like the pasuk says, Hashechak Hashem Chayim Hashem apportioned the stars on Eis. So Rashi says on that pasuk, literally, the nations are literally under the stars. Am Yisrael doesn't have mazel. We don't have mazel. And mazel, no, which also means you have to. He's pointing out there's a duality here. That means if we would have to find ourselves a physical mainstay, we'd be dead, because there is not a single mazel that as it were is keneged Am Yisrael, that we could say we have some type of kiyum b'derech hateva. Okay. Now this, in his philosophy, of Isaac Chaver's philosophy, he says this over and over again, that Am Yisrael does not have physical existence. And he always mentions, when he talks about this at greater length, Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu by nature was sterile, as was Sarah, right? And it was only b'derech nes that they had Yitzchak, not b'derech hateva. Right? Which means our whole Metzias comes from Nisim. And he says, so also in every generation, we are like one sheep surrounded by 70 wolves. So this is a big yesod in his philosophy. Am Yisrael does not have physical existence. That we could say we get our koch from this mazel, or from we have this army, or what we have. We don't have a kiyum b'derech hateva. And yet the whole teva exists because of us. And that's how we're like Shabbos. Okay. Right. So also Am Yisrael has no physical existence in this world. So just like Shabbos, nothing physical is created on Shabbos. Am Yisrael also has no physical existence in this world. But nonetheless, we are the ones that sustain the whole world. Mamish like Shabbos. And that's what the pasuk means. Osi beinu beinechem. Right? The Shabbos is a sign between me and you. Meaning to say that, me and you, we have a special relationship. You are to me like the Shabbos. Right? L'cheinitem Yom HaShabbos b'matan min hashamayim. And that's why we were given Shabbos as a matana from heaven. Ru ki Hashem asachem es Shabbos. Right, as it says in Parshas Bo, look, Hashem gave you the Shabbos. Lora shloech shu she'isor she'bi kaimu shvitas Shabbos. We call meleches maaseh loyem b'may paras. Am Yisrael should not think for a second that if we keep Shabbos, we will be losing out on parnasa. Because we're not going to work. Shouldn't think that. She'enu davar kain, because that's not the case by Am Yisrael. Our whole sustenance comes from Lamala Min HaTeva. We shouldn't feel bad that we're missing out from work because Derech HaTeva doesn't work for us anyway. Right, just the opposite. Shabbos gives bracha to all the days, and also we get bracha. We tap into the power of Shabbos by the fact that we don't go to work and we just spend the day in Torah and Avodas Hashem with love. Right, now, just like in the previous entry in Dayenu, he explained at greater length that that the big malo we talk about hechilon v'samon. We don't say hechilon v'saslav. We don't mention in Dayenu the be'er. No, because we're mentioning things that give us higher madregas. Right. So just like in the entry had on man that we got man is lechem abirim. What angels eat because it changed us and put us on a higher spiritual level. Shabbos b'mar. That's also why, as a function, right on the heels of that, we say after HaKadosh gave us the man, he gave us the Shabbos. Shabbos b'mar. Kodem Matan Torah, even before Matan Torah, we had to get Shabbos. Shabbos ukiv Yisrael elav Yisbarach, because Shabbos draws us close to Am Yisrael. It shows that we have a special relationship with him, right? That he made us the center of creation. And so the that's right, exactly. Shabbos, getting Shabbos in Mora helped make us the type of people that mitzvahs would work with. Right? If we wouldn't have had Shabbos, it wouldn't have put us in on the madrega of Lamala Min HaTeva, and therefore mitzvahs would be lost on us. So he's saying that the Shabbos was a necessary step before Kirvan of Ne'ar, and that's why we got a Mora. We got the other two mitzvahs there just to have, like Rashi says, some Torah to learn. But we had to get Shabbos as part of our spiritual evolution, right, to put us on the madrega of Am Yisrael. And that type of nation that doesn't live b'derech HaTeva, that type of nation can get Torah. So in short, his yesod over here is that Shabbos is not one of the mitzvahs that you do. Shabbos is a status symbol of Am Yisrael's special matzav in reality, which is why we are the chosen people, which is why we got Torah. And that's why it's not b'chlal the other mitzvahs. It was taken out of that klal and put even before Matan Torah because we had to get it in Morah to make us the type of people that could get the Torah.
How does the mon fit in over here?
The mon, so you had entry on... No, because that's the entry directly before. Right? In the Dayenu, which he has an entry. You have it in front of you also. No, he says over there. The obvious question: why are you stelling on the man? What about the bear? What about the slav? What about the Anani Akovid? The Baal Dayenu is only interested in things that give us higher madregas, madrega after something that God just did for our benefit. Stam kacha, right? That's all we're talking about after we get out of Mitzrayim. All the next set of 10 after the first 5, which talk about Yetzias Mitzrayim, next set of 10 is madregas, and that's why we're not the Slav didn't. That was just given to us because we complained. Mm-hmm. Didn't give us a higher madrega. What? It brought us down madregas. Yeah. Fine. So we're putting the man because it put us on a higher madrega. And we're talking about Shabbos that put us in noch a higher madrega. Mm-hmm. Then Kirvan Lefnei Arsinai, like we learned last week in Ramchal, and then that we're talking about madrega. So we're not talking about all the nisim that there were in the desert. Mm-hmm. Our focus is on how Kosh Hu is right. Okay. Next entry. Okay, so now next page, but it's not the next page. It's a few in the Hagar. It's a few pages. We're going to do the entry called B'chol Dor Vador.
Okay.
Right. That's right. B'chol Dor Vador Chayav Adam Liosat So Kilu Yotzim Mitzrayim. So now it says the revised Bala Taretz Shelo Yikshed. This whole entry in the Haggadah is coming to answer a kasha. That a person shouldn't have a kasha. It's Tenach Bizman Shebes Meish Hayakayim Shozer Yisrael Bnei Choram V'Yuchayim Mekayim Mitzvah Pesach Matzah Mor Liz Kargov V'Yoshanu Aydei Yitzias Mitzrayim Al Bizman HaGolus Sisor B'Tachas HaShifus V'Ashir and came Kvarim Avodah Kibikedem Uman Las Yitzias Mitzrayim. This whole paragraph comes to answer the famous question. It should bother any thinking person. It makes sense to celebrate Pesach Bizman that there's a base mission. You're not in goals. if we're in Golus, so, we're back to where we started from, why do we celebrate Pesach? That's what this paragraph, he says, is coming to address. The B'chol Dor V'Dor, including when you're in Golus. And that's why the Baal Gadol came to say, Sheb'chol Dor V'Dor, Chayav Adam liros es atzo kilu yatz Yisrael. Ve'evi raya mi pasuk v'yigadet lebincha bayom hahu, shemitzvah negas adorsom, so on every bayom hahu is any day you have, matzah more munach lefanecha. V'amar kasav sheyomer b'loshin she'asa Hashem li, and it says v'yigadet bincha bayom hahu, b'ozas Hashem li, right? But says Mitzrayim, Sha'af Shehu Lora B'Sinchas Yisrael Miyamav, and it is a guy who may have never seen the Jewish people in a good situation in his lifetime, and he's still supposed to say to his son, Ba'avor Zeh Asa Hashem Li, right? Va'atam. Well, now what's the reason? Ki lo asavzeinu b'vad gaz HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's what so the first pasuk is just kind of say how we know that this is true. That everyone has to view it as if it's his personal redemption. Ba'avor Zeh Asa Hashem Li, Bayom Hahu, every Pesach, Bavar Zeh Asher Hashem Li. But the reason wasn't stated why yet. That's the hemshech of the paragraph. That Shlo Seru B'Vad Gal Kashku, Elaf Asar Gal Mayim Sher Basar Tzam Lavi Asanu. That's the reason why. And he goes on to explain. Va'atam. Ki lo Esav Seru B'Vad Gal Kashku.
You're still in Tzadi Test?
I'm still in Tzadi Test, right. Lord Ki Af, right. Af, right. There's a big difference between Golus Mitzrayim and every other subsequent Golus that we have been in ever since. Sheinam Elul Leguf Bilvad Avalon Nefesh. All other Galuyot ever since Yitzias Mitzrayim were only subjugations of the body, but not subjugations of the soul. Ki kvar nitna Torah v'shmois b'ch nikra aleinu v'anu shomrim taraso mitzasav b'chol eitzu v'chol zman. Because something irreversible happened. We got the Torah, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu put his name upon us that we are identified as God's people, and that never goes away. That's irreversible. Right? And we keep his mitzvahs, Torah mitzvahs, wherever we are, as the Paul says, Kiloti Shakach Mipizo, it will never be forgotten from the descendants of Am Yisrael's Makabel Torah. Va'adarabba, just the opposite. B'chol dor v'dor, mosif dor tzogim ala Torah. In every generation we add new chumras. We add new chumras, as he writes it. He says that's supposed to happen. It was meant to happen. We add new chumras. Ve'elcha bencho and mishas betar. We have no one who's truly free except someone who's osik betar. Shenu meshubad liyitzra rav ve'etu meshuletzis alav. Because the bottom line is that that's why we add new chumras in every generation. It's to make more siyagim against the Yetzer Hara, that the Yetzer Hara should never have control over us. So even though the Goyim subjugate our body, but we don't let the Yetzer Hara control our soul. Okay. Right? And there's no tumah that sholit on us. V'acheres hanafshi, it is the spiritual freedom. Shekaninu b'yitzias Mitzrayim, we acquired it with Yitzias Mitzrayim, but it was solidified with Matan Torah. Right, is what the Mishnah says. That the writing is charus al tikrei charut elachei rus. That means like this: that Yitzias Mitzrayim until Kabbalah's Torah was a one long process. That's why it's linked by the Omer period, right? That the process started with Yitzias Mitzrayim and got concretized with Matan Torah. Which
so in other words, before Mitzrayim, we could be.
The Yetzer Hara could have made toast out of us.
Before Matan Torah, we could be our goof and the Neshama could be enslaved, and after Matan Torah, only our goof.
That's right.
And the Neshama belongs to the Torah.
That's right.
Okay.
Correct. So Yitzias Mitzrayim made it possible for the Torah to have that effect on us, as per the 15 steps of the Dayenu, like we just learned. Right? Okay. So, now this explains why there's a mitzvah year-round to remember Yitzias Mitzrayim by night, day and by night in Kriya Shema. Because only through Yitzias Mitzrayim we could really accept HaKadosh Baruch Hu's yoke his kingdom, because otherwise we're meshubit to the Yitzhar. We have two masters. So, and that's why Rav Soloveitchik also in the Shurim Lezecha Abba Mori says this daher and more in a brisker way that why is it that Yitzias Mitzrayim is part of Kriya Shema, So he says it's because Kabbalas Ol Malchus Shemayim. It's Kabbalah's, Krishma's Kabbalah's Ol Malchus Shemayim. Without, Rabbi Soloveitchik writes this in a lumdish way, but it's mamish these words, in Shurim Lezecher Abba Mori. That there's no way you could be Makabo, Malchus Shemayim, without Yitzias Mitzrayim. Because before Yitzias Mitzrayim, we had at least one more master. It's called the Yitzhar. Right?
So what you're basically saying is the basis and the theory for Barasi Yitzhar and Barasi Kaira Tavla.
Right, but you don't. But Torah wouldn't work on a goy. Let's say a goy. Okay. If a goy will learn, no. So you need Yetzias Mitzrayim and the whole process, all those dayenus that lead up to Matan Torah, and then you have the Tavlin, and then you could be sincere about accepting God as your one and only King, because you only work for Him and you don't work for your Yetzirah, and you don't, right?
Yeah.
So Yitzias, because this is part, and that's why Zechiras Yitzias Mitzrayim is part and parcel of the mitzvah of Kriya Shema, because you cannot be Makabel Ol Malchus Shemayim sincerely if not for Yitzias Mitzrayim, because it liberated you from Yetzirah. Otherwise, you would have another master called the Yetzirah. Right? L'chein Maskir Yitzias Mitzrayim, because that's why I have to mention Yitzias Mitzrayim by Kriya Shema, because Yitzias Mitzrayim made it possible to be Makabel Ol Malchus Shemayim B'Leiv Shalom. Okay. Shetchila b'Yosef Tzarishkoim B'Glulei Mitzrayim, because when we were in Mitzrayim, we were mamish, we were deep into the Avodah Zarah of Mitzrayim. Because of Goy Mikerev Goy, we'd taken out a nation from within a nation. We were swallowed up within Mitzrayim, and HaKadosh Hu extricated us. Goy Mikerev Goy. And you have to understand that we in Mitzrayim, we had absolute servitude to Mitzrayim. Because we were meshubit not just to Paro to build pyramids, we were also meshubit to the Sitra Achra. We were under the control of the Sitra Achra. Right. Ume'oz Yitzias Mitzrayim kaninu acheres hamuchletet limsho b'chol abriya b'shamayim uvaretz v'chol tzvar mala. But in Yitzias Mitzrayim we acquired spiritual freedom, which also put us, and this you have to shtel this to the previous entry we just did, that we are now lamala min ateva, like Shabbos, and we're not under the Sitracher, we're not even under the Teva. Okay. We are even lamala min ateva, and we control the teva. Like Shabbos is above the week and gives the bracha to the week. That's mamish the power of Yitzias Mitzrayim. That it was a change, not just in geopolitical situation. It was a change in our madrega, permanent change in our madrega, and we are permanently on this high madrega, whether our bodies are enslaved or not. Right. All right, the K'mosh Chazal, the Apostle said, Tzadik Moshe Yiras Okim, the Tzadik rules with his Yiras Shemayim. V'yotzanu Gamkim Mitachas Hanogas Ateva Ashkaso Yisparach HaPratis. So we didn't just get out of Sitra Achra, we are also outside of the Anhog of Teva, to be under a special Hashgacha Pratis from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ve'ena Teva Moshe Banu Klal, and the Teva does not, reign over us whatsoever. That's the famous say. Talk about the sociological wonder of Jewish survival, why the Jew hasn't vanished yet. Right, it's just every society has, every civilization has risen and fell and assimilated, and we don't, because our kiyum is not b'derech hateva. It does not.
Chaim Volozhin made a siddur. Somebody made a siddur, and that was Yaakov Emden.
Right.
The beginning of his siddur.
Right.
Says that the nace that we're still around, and that was Yaakov Emden from so many hundred years ago.
Right.
Bigger than Kriyas Yamsuf.
Right. Because we're not derech hateva, we have no kiyum like we learned before, and Yitzhak put us in this situation that we're lamala min hateva, right? Okay, so now you can understand the end of the pasuk. It says, just referring up to the Haggadah, in order to give us the country that He swore to our forefathers. What does that have to do with anything? That's why the Tachas of Yitzrayim was for the purpose of entering Eretz Yisrael. Why? As the Apostle says, first of all, I take you out of the oppression of Egypt to the Eretz of Askal Gam came. Right, and we have other psukim. It's like it's all over the Chumash. And I'm going to bring you to the land I promised your forefathers. Why? What does one have to do with the other? Ki Eretz Yisrael nivdas mikol rotzos, because Eretz Yisrael also is different from all the other nations, all the other countries. The also mushkach mito yizbarach levad. All the other countries have a ministering angel, and therefore that's why Derech HaTeva works in the other countries. In Israel, Derech HaTeva doesn't work. Never. Yeah, as you know. Anyway,
That's for sure.
Derech HaTeva does not work in Eretz Yisrael. Never did and never will. Right? Right? Eretz Hashem Elokecha Tamid. It is land that the eyes of Hashem is seeking constantly. I mean, it's directly under HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not under the Malachim, and since it's not under the Malachim, that's why it's not under Teva. Right, right. Possible. Right, so that's why I say, in order to bring us to Eretz Yisrael, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted Am Yisrael not to live b'derech hateva, right, and that's why to make that a permanent fixture, right. That's why He took us to Eretz Yisrael, which does not run b'derech hateva either. That's where we're meant to be. When we're in Golus, we're like caught between the chairs. We're not sitting on the L'malam Mitzvah chair, and we're not sitting totally on the Derech HaTeva chair. We're caught between the chairs. He has an entry on that also, that our situation in Golus is that HaKadosh has to nisim nistorim, hidden miracles. In Eretz Yisrael, we have revealed miracles. Okay. So, but we're in Golus, so He has to be mitlabesh. He has to guise it in Derech HaTeva when we're in Golus, because we're nishtahin and nishtaher. It's the part of the tragedy of Golus. So the main yesod over here is that the spiritual redemption of Mitzrayim is permanent. Even though the physical subjugation was reversed, and we have been in Golus now 2,000 years as opposed to the 210, and we have also, and I have it on good authority from Rabbanim that lived through the Holocaust that said that the Holocaust was the worst. Mitzrayim was not as bad as the Holocaust. It was longer, but it was not that type of oppression, that type of inhumane treatment, that type of extermination. He writes that the Piasetzer, the Chovas HaTalmidim, in his Eish Kodesh, the things that he wrote in the Warsaw Ghetto that they unearthed. He said, I went through all the Midrashim, and never as Am Yisrael went through what we're going through now, and the Chachamim and Nevi'im couldn't even see it. That's what he writes. But, okay, so the physical subjugation, don't get me wrong, Mitzrayim sucked. I mean, I'm not saying Mitzrayim was tolerable.
They had them working a lot. They had them working day and night.
Yeah, okay, but this type of thing, it's I'm saying they
the firstborn. They killed the firstborns. But it wasn't a mass.
Wasn't a mass extermination,
mass extermination.
It wasn't as demeaning. At least they're doing constructive work. Listen, look, I'm not coming to in any way whitewash Mitzrayim, but one can easily argue that the physical setback, right? Yeah, the physical setback is the situation's been reversed, right? But what hasn't been reversed is our spiritual position in reality has never changed ever since Yetzias Mitzrayim. That's why b'chol dor v'dor you have to appreciate the fact that we're Am Yisrael and we have this unique position in reality of God's chosen and being l'malam min hateva and having Torah. That's the aspect of Yetzias Mitzrayim that never got reversed. That's what the Ramchal writes. That's the red line that God will never cross. As bad as we sin, He'll never cross the Yetzias Mitzrayim line. And as a function of that, says the Ramchal, that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu is never going to repossess the Torah. Because Yetzias Mitzrayim put us on a permanent level of being worthy that the Torah can't be taken away from us. If God abandoned us, He should also repossess the Torah. He's not repossessing the Torah, and because He's not repossessing the Torah, He's also not abandoning us. And that Yetzias Mitzrayim set that red line that God will never cross, no matter how bad we sin. And that's the Cherus that we celebrate b'chol dor v'dor. And that's what it means. That's what it means. If HaKadosh would have not, earlier Nagoda, if HaKadosh would have not taken us out of Mitzrayim, we would have still been Meshubah to Paro. I'm sure he says it over there, right? The same Yesod, right? It means like this. Of course, everyone asked the Kasha. What happened? The Egyptian civilization fell, so we've gone free. Anyway, so, no, but without the Oisis and the Moivsim and all the fanfare, right, that God did. Right, we've been free, but we've still been on our low madrega, meshubah to the Yetzer Hara.
Okay.
That's what it means if HaKadosh Ilu Lo Tzi HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with all the fanfare and all the miracles. I say, Anu, Baner, Meshubadim A'ilu Par Mitzrayim would still be Meshubad to Par Mitzrayim being representing the Sitra Achra. We would still been B'meitzar, we would still been spiritually constrained. Paro, Miloshan Oref, back of the head, we have no ability to face God. We would have been, remained Am Kshe Oref, with no ability turning, we would not been able to face HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what it means that, we would have been Meshubad, Paro Mitzrayim being a concept, a spiritual concept. And that's why we needed, and that's also what explains why you need HaKadosh B'chvodo Ba'atzmo had to come into Mitzrayim. He says this also. I mean, all these concepts are interconnected because Yitzias Mitzrayim was not just liberty. It was realigning reality that we were on the lowest level and we were being put now in the highest level on the totem pole of reality. It was a reality changer. And that's why it had to be God Himself. That's why, if we would have been liberated by Paro without God, we would have still been Meshubad to Paro. We would have still been Meshubad. Or if the Egyptian civilization would have fallen, we still would have been Meshubad. In a sense that our spiritual situation would not have been any better. And that's what we celebrate, that the fact that our spiritual situation has been permanently and irreversibly changed. And that's the freedom. That's the freedom that we have.
I hear. Good.
Okay, one more piece.
Okay.
This is one more piece of Fikach. And then, the same page, and then it goes on to the next page.
Good.
Now, the obvious problem in Lefikach is that there's a lot of redundancy in it, which he wants to explain. It says, Hoter Mavdos Cheres, Miyagel L'Simcha, Evel L'Yom Tov, Me'afel L'Or Gadol, Umishibud L'Gula. He wants to explain that, how nothing there is redundant. Right? Now, that's the point of this piece. Okay. Lefikach Anu Chayim V'Lodos. Right? Now, after we explained in the piece before that even though we are physically subjugated to the goyim bisman hazeh, but we at least had, but we still had a complete gula of the soul and of our madrega. Right?
To say this one outside, I got to leave in 5 minutes. So.
Oh, okay, fine. So what he does is like he as the Mepharshim say, he now divides it up first of all into the Keneged Tetzach Adash Ba'achav. He says like this, the whole thing, the Makkahs, from the time the Makkahs started until we actually went out of Mitzrayim, 14 months passed. They started in Shvat a year earlier, and it took like 14 months till we went out. It was a process, and he says because there's a reason for the process. The first three was that immediately after the Makkah set in, right? Paro stopped the avoda, and so the physical subjugation, we didn't have to go to work after Makkah's down. But we know that the first three all belong to the same set. Those first three were to liberate us from the physical servitude and also basic payback to Paro for having enslaved us.
Okay.
That's the function of the first three, the Dam Tzoreh Kinim. Right? And Keneged that is Hotzianu Me'avdos L'Cherus. The first entry, because the Shibud stopped immediately when the Makkahs began. We didn't have to go to work from that. Okay. Now, but then there's the second set of Adash. Right? What's their function? Right? That to show that I'm beating up on you, not as payback for you, the Jewish people, but now to show you that the Jewish people are my chosen people. Right? To show that Am Yisrael is special, so that they're going to be my chosen, and as opposed to you guys, you are not my chosen. So it's connected to Mile of Yisrael. Right, and that of course is the greatest simcha that we have. The greatest Ivdu Hashem b'simcha, the simcha of that we are chosen to serve God. So that's the second entry, miyagon l'simcha, from Agdei Simcha, the simcha of simcha shel mitzvah, that we're the ones chosen to serve God. Okay, but now comes the third set of the makkahs, bar arba choshech makas b'choros. Right, and that's all to show God was, as he writes before in the Psukim, he's showing off. Right, haroschas kochi leman saper shmi. Now, amongst the things that he's showing off is that he shows that he juggles opposites. Right, like Borat was, the fire and water came down, the fire and the ice came down together. right? To show like this, even the bad is for the good. I could juggle up, they're reconciled because kol my davim and shemaya litav, right? So why do you do bad things? So no, the bad is not a contradiction. It's also for the sake of the good, right? Because for Am Yisrael, not for the goyim, that we get beaten up in this world, so we could have.
We don't understand.
No, not we don't understand, because we can have good olam haba. And he brings an entry from the Gemara in Kiddushin, that the Gemara brings a cryptic brisa, whoever has more averos than mitzvahs, right? They give him they give him good times, and one has more mitzvahs than averos, they give him bad times. So Abaye answers and says that this cryptic brisa is talking about, right? In this world, the guy who's more avera than mitzvah, they give him a good time to give him the schar of his mitzvahs here, and then he has no olam haba, so he actually lost out by that. We have a hard time in this world for the sake of having a complete olam haba, because we got cleaned up and paid back here. So Akash shows that which the bad is also for the sake of the good, right? To give Am Yisrael kapara. Right, but that's only for Am Yisrael. So that means the goyim have it good because he's giving it to them bad. Right, Am Yisrael has it bad because he's giving it to them for good. Right, and that's me'evel liyom tov. That we realize that our hard times are there to facilitate the good times by Am Yisrael. Right, okay. But then all that is now. But then there was that we got the mitzvah of Korban Pesach, right? Like Rashi says, we had to get the mitzvah of Korban Pesach. That's the of Shabbos Hagadol. We had to get Mishkul Khu, right? And we had to get the Korban Pesach because we didn't have yet any schus to be redeemed, right? Because we had to, we had to become spiritually better, right? Then the goyim, we had to so to make us spiritually better. That's why we got the mitzvahs of Korban Pesach. The whole seder of Mishkul Ku and Korban Pesach. So that's called Umeafela L'Orgodo. We're not for dark. We're spiritual. Now we're in light. Because everything talking about that the Jewish people, I'm going to do great things with them and for them, but we were still not any better. We're still in spiritual. So that's when we got the mitzvahs of Korban Pesach. That's Meafela L'Orgodo, right? But then finally, we had to be in Mitzrayim for 210 years, not a moment less. Right? And we dealt with this last time, whether we had to be, whether especially like the Shita that was the full payback because it started from Yitzhak. So we had to do the full payback, and to be. So our Shibud did not end one moment early, right? It ended exactly at Chatzos, right? Okay. And that's when Paro said, "Harei atem b'rshus atzmechem." Like we learned last week, our Paro announced, "You are now liberated." Right, and that's why it ends off. The final entry is umishibud legeula, because even though it's not talking about the physical enslavement, that stopped already by the first Makkah, but we're still in Golus. We weren't allowed to leave the Rishus of Paro one moment early, right? And that we got after Korban Pesach. Right now we're worthy, and then also the time came, and that's umishibud legeula. That's when the Golus actually ended. Because even though for all the madregas that we're talking about, we're still in Mitzrayim, in Golus. The Golus, and that's why the final entry, umishibud legeula, right? Because the shibud only entered, at Chatzos, when a power said, "Areatem b'shus atzmechem," and then Ozmafav Shira Chadasha, right? That's why we have to now praise God, that was the finality of the process. So there's not a single extra word in that lefikach. It explains the whole evolution, from Makas Dam until Chatzos Laila, when a parasha said, Harei atem b'rshus atzmechem. And every word over here refers to another step of the process.
Okay, excellent.
I guess next week, Chol Hamoed, we will not be.
Chol Hamoed for sure not. The week after, I for sure can't.
Okay.
So we're off for a couple of weeks.
Okay. You going away?
I'm not.
No.